Good morning, welcome everybody. Welcome to our daily webinar here at the Hispanic Response and Recovery Plan, an effort of more than 75 Hispanic organizations and leaders that together we're tackling this pandemic so that we can be back in our feet soon and they are able to mitigate the incredible impact that COVID has in our community that, as we know, has been disproportionately affected by this pandemic. We bring you everyday webinars with incredible leaders so that we can be informed, we can be educated, and we can be entertained in this challenging time. And more than anything, it is an opportunity for us to be together and to create a collective plan so that we can come out stronger than we started today. It's my absolute pleasure to welcome one of the most important role models of the Hispanic community, one leader that is the CEO of one of the largest companies in America. His name is Mauricio Gutierrez. He's the CEO of NRG, and he accepted to talk to the Hispanic leadership today about what is NRG? What is NRG to start with? What is NRG doing? What are some of the leadership tips that you can be sharing with all of us? And Mauricio, we would love to hear as well. What do you think is going to happen after COVID-19, and what is the future of energy after COVID-19 and for all of us? Mauricio Gutierrez, welcome, and thank you so much for being with us.
Claudia, good morning, and it's great to be here. I guess, first of all, for all your listeners that are doing their part and staying at home, I hope that you're all safe and well. And for those of you who are frontline, you have our deepest appreciation. So thank you for everything that you're doing. NRG, as you said, we're a power company. We have power plants across the country. We produce electricity, but we also sell electricity to, customers, consumers like you and me under the NRG brand, but other brands that perhaps you or your listeners are more familiar with, particularly if you're in the Texas region. Perhaps the one that everybody knows is the Reliant Energy brand. So that's the retail brand that we have to sell electricity. So that's what NRG is and does. And obviously,
and Mauricio, just on that, when I heard of you, it's very easy to think that energy is a utility company. As a fact, that was the first time that I heard from you. I heard that a Hispanic was the CEO of the largest utility company in the country. And then when I got to hear about more what energy was doing, it was so cutting edge, so visionary, so completely futuristic, visionary about what you were doing with energy even before COVID. So I want to commend you, and I want to make sure that everyone that is listening here has a deep understanding that we have incredible leaders. That we should be absolutely proud to have such a Hispanic star leading one of the most important companies in America, feeding power and energy to all of us in such a way. So it is a privilege to be able to have you with us, and that you're leading one of the most important, power companies in America. And now, not only that, but you have really taken a very, a very important step towards responding to COVID-19.
Yes, we have, and I'm glad that you're making that distinction. I mean, we are a competitive power company, one of the largest competitive power companies, which is slightly different than utilities. So that's the first thing that you're going to hear, that you're going to learn in this webinar that we have, is that there is a regulated part of the business, and then there is a competitive part of the business. And perhaps the best description is we have to earn every single customer that we serve. That's the nature of competitive markets. We have to earn every single one of them with compelling products and services. And our power plants have to be the most efficient to be able to compete with other power plants. So that's the difference, is really serving the consumer and maximizing the benefits for the consumer. Now, with respect to COVID-19, as you can now appreciate, electricity is part of the critical infrastructure of this country. And as part of that critical infrastructure, we have very little room for error. We need to make sure that our power plants continue to operate and produce electricity. and that we serve our customers and communities during this difficult time. And many of them are feeling financial hardship. So, you know, as you think about that, I mean, can you imagine a world like this without electricity at home? I can't even, you know, imagine that. So when we're thinking about the important role that we have, the important service that we're providing to our community, and the commitment that we have, it all starts with our employees, with the people that make it happen. So our number one priority during this time is protect the safety and well-being of our employees, so they can operate the power plants and they can provide support to our customers and community. So let me tell you a few things that we have done around COVID-19. You know, I would say that the first thing is all the steps that we have taken are pretty well aligned with the health organizations, with CDC. We've been monitoring what they are saying, and we're aligning, you know, all the steps that we have taken. You know, we closed our offices almost 5 weeks ago to all non-essential personnel. So everybody's been working remotely. Who can work remotely is working remotely. We, you know, establish social distancing guidelines, including masks protocols if you're inside 6 feet. You know, we have, you know, deep cleaning protocols now in every single one of our facilities. We have restricted access to all our power plants just to essential personnel. We have done segregation of shifts to make sure that, you mitigate the potential risk. Importantly, we have expanded the health benefits of our employees to where now they have access to, a virtual doctor. I mean, we recognize that everybody's now at home, that they can perhaps not go to the doctor. So we wanted to get in front of it, and we basically gave access to all our employees to a doctor, over the phone or video. And then we activated our employee relief fund. There are some employees that, they have been hit harder than others. So we want to make sure that we're there for them. With respect to our customers, we know that there is a lot of financial hardship. And the last thing that people want to hear or they want to think about is, are they going to cut my electricity because I had a late payment? And so we have halted electric disconnects during this time. And we're also providing other means, whether it's deferred payments or other type of means, to make sure that, we help them during this time. So those are some of the things that we have done as a company. Obviously the first steps that we took was really to focus on our employees and then to focus on our customers. And about 2 weeks ago, we activated our support for our communities.
And I would love to hear more of that. First of all, kudos. Again, I'm so proud to have such a Hispanic star leading one of, such a powerful company. And I want everybody to have Mauricio Gutierrez top of mind when we're thinking about who are the leaders of the Hispanic community. We have Mauricio Gutierrez to be very, very proud of. I love what you're doing for employees. I love what you're doing for consumers. That idea of having not only the protocols for the safety for your employees, but also the consideration for late payments for some of your consumers, and just paying attention to what the community is going through. I would love to hear more about what you're doing for community. Employees we got, and we applaud. Consumers we get, and I would love to make sure that people know about this. I would like to know about community. Mauricio, you and I are part of, and I'm grateful because you're part of the Hispanic Star Alliance. And as part of that, what we know is, how disproportionately affected Hispanics are at the health level. We're, the 34% of every death in New York from COVID is a Hispanic. That makes us 29% of the total population in the country. Number two, economically, our small businesses, our entrepreneurs, and independent workers have lost completely their income, contracts, their salaries, because we're mostly in those areas that have been shut down and also the most exposed. It's a very harsh reality. And nevertheless, yesterday talking to Nina Vac, I understood that we're also disproportionately equipped because of our entrepreneurial mindset, of our, like way resourcefulness to go away with circumstances. So I would love to hear what you're doing in terms of like the community response from NRG is having such a leader.
Yeah, no, well, first of all, it's very important that we actually know our data. So I commend you for making sure that, we highlight this data and we report it and we put it in front of people, because I think is very, very important that, create that awareness of what is the role that Hispanics play in this country. In terms of our, support to the communities, about 2 weeks ago, I announced a donation of about a little over $2 million for frontline workers. So let me expand a little bit more what frontline means. First and foremost, first responders, EMT, firemen, I mean, people that are truly in the front line. So we will dedicate some of that to, providing protective equipment, safety and protective equipment, or what is now known, everybody now knows what PPE means. So, we are equipping, we're providing this equipment to first responders. The second thing, which is very important based on what you were saying around small businesses, we're working with mayors of the cities where we live and work. We are providing them, we're participating on the city-led funds. And those funds are designed to provide support to the most vulnerable ones, including small businesses in those communities, which, is incredibly important for the economic health of the cities and communities where we work. And then finally, I think we're all experiencing, school from home. And many, if not, all the kids are now doing their online school, or they are schooling from home. So we felt that it was very important to support teachers and educators. But the way we're doing it is we're empowering our employees to support, specific teachers in their local communities. So they are the ones who are leading the effort in terms of how we're going to provide these funds to teachers. So those are the three big categories of what we describe as frontline workers. And I can tell you that we're incredibly proud of what the entire NRG community is doing to support their communities.
And I would hope that a lot of other people will follow your lead and will actually take some of that example, some of those best practices, and some of the lessons learned that you have. For us, we would love to invite you and join efforts with you. We are planning on doing an activation May 21 for a day of service or a day of action, where we can activate employees all across the countries, ERGs, employee resource groups, business resource groups of corporate America and others, so that we can activate a day of service, so that everyone can join forces and do precisely what you're emphasizing, which is support those that need it most. So I hope that we can count on you and NRG to do something together May 21. I hope that you can count on us, all of the Hispanic Star Alliance leaders and everyone that is here to support what you're doing and join forces. In this time, we need to be stronger and more united than ever, so that we can be strong. Mauricio, you are a true leader and a role model for so many people. I want to make sure that we can get some of your tips, some of your leadership style, and tell us a little bit about like how, what is your leadership style, and how are you using some of the tips of the leadership that you had to apply, particularly in these challenging times?
Well, I mean, as you said, I mean, times are very different, and we have to recognize. I have to recognize that I am going to be working from home for a period of time, and I've been working from home. So you actually have to adapt, your leadership style. You have to adapt how you talk to your team, how do you inspire your team during these difficult times. And one of the things that I wanted to make sure that we didn't lose was the open and transparent communication that I've had with the entire organization over the past 4 years that I've been CEO. I wanted to ensure that everybody had access to me, and that there was a personal connection. So open and transparent communication is very, very important during this time. I am, as many of you, I'm becoming very well versed on video chatting, and I had a number of conversations with my most senior management team. At the beginning of this, almost on a daily basis. Now, a little bit, we're pacing it a little bit more. But also, I've done a number of video messages to the NRG family. I mean, it is important that people see you and that they hear your voice and your tone of voice when you're providing these messages. So I encourage everybody, if you have an opportunity, instead of just sending a memo, which, in the past is perhaps the way that you would do it, just record a video message. I think it goes a very long way, and people have been very appreciative. The second thing is, when you establish very clear priorities and objectives, people know what to do. And I think that was the second thing that I wanted to be crystal clear is, what was the most important thing for us? And like I said, the most important thing for us was to protect the safety and well-being of our employees so that we could continue to operate our power plants and serve our customers. That's very simple. Everybody understood, everybody knows what is the goal and objective, and everybody can rally around. I also wanted to remind everyone the purpose that we have as a company in serving our communities, and remind them that in this time of hardship and in these challenging times, we have such a basic, product that everybody needs, that is upon us to make sure that we keep the lights on. And I talked to our people, my colleagues that don't have the luxury of staying at home and having to go to the power plants, that they are frontline workers.
That's right.
And I have expressed my deepest appreciation to them, because perhaps they're not the frontline workers that most people see on hospitals or EMTs, but they are going to the power plants every day with an attitude of, I am a frontline worker and I need to keep the lights on. So I'm just incredibly proud and grateful for those who actually leave their house every day and go to our facilities. And the last one is, and that's always about the team that you surround yourself with. And I have a great team. I say that I have the best team in the industry, but I'm sure that other CEOs will say the same thing.
You really do.
But you have to empower your team. You have to trust your team. And during this time where everybody's on their homes and while we have a very close communication, you have to empower them. And you just have to trust that they make the right calls. And I have just complete trust on my team. So that basically, lets me sleep at night, knowing that I have a very, very good team that know what they're doing, that know what our goals and objectives are, and that they're just executing.
And it's fantastic to hear, like from a CEO, how personal and how serious you're taking the communication and informing and being very clear and very straight about what the priorities are. We, from the Edelman barometer, about trust barometer on COVID, people are frightened and they are not sure that they trust government or trust media, but they trust their employer and their employee. Employer, and they trust their CEO, and that information has to be frequent and has to be constant and has to be sharp and has to be clear. So it's great to hear actually that you're, pretty much doing what provides trust and confidence on people in these times. But I'm sure that your leadership style had to be adapted in those challenging times. And I would like to hear, what you have here, a number of leaders that are in charge of a large number of chapters all across the country, running an NGO, running a company, being, the highest Hispanic of a company. What do you tell them? What tips do you tell them in this time? What leadership tips do you, as a CEO, a role model for all of us, give us to do in this challenging time?
Yes, well, I think it's important that you recognize your purpose. Like I said, you have to connect the dots for the entire organization. You have to make sure that you help them understand the purpose that they have and the impact that they have in their local communities. I think it's incredibly powerful when you actually have a purpose. Like I said, communication is very important. You need to maintain a communication, and I think I gave you already video messaging. It's a big tip for all of you. If you're not sure about being in front of a camera, it's okay. You just do it, because I think people will appreciate it. And then just trust on your team. You have a great team. Just rely on them. They will make the right decisions. If they know exactly what's the ultimate goal, what is the objective, they will make the right decision. So those are some of the tips that I will make. And obviously, I mean, we have to also understand that everybody is now working at home. The vast majority of people are working at home. So I can't stress enough that the boundaries between work, home, and play inside the same place can be blurry. So try to just maintain a very structured schedule. Have some guidelines around safety and well-being at home. That's something that we provided to our employees. Even in the first week when we initiated our remote work protocol, we gave them tips. What are the things that you need to do to protect your safety and your well-being while you are at home, because it's a different place as the workplace. So I think that has come a long way.
Yeah, and Mauricio Gutierrez, CEO of NRG, I want to again thank you so much for spending the time with us, sharing your tips, your wisdom, and for what you're doing for your employees, for your consumers, for our community, for the community in general, for being a role model, and actually stepping up and being able to share and being here for all of us. I would like to, just before closing, give you a final word, a message that you would like to convey to all of us before closing.
Yes, well, Claudia, I think, when I think about COVID-19, take a step back, as we are in the middle of responding to this, and many of us are already planning to the reentry process, because we were very quick at, sheltering and working remotely and establishing all these, but I'm already, and my team is already thinking about reentry and what are the things that we need to do to ensure that we have a safe reentry for our employees. But now, undoubtedly, there will be a before and an after. The world will change, our industry will change, the workplace is going to change, our company is going to change, and I don't want to minimize that. But one thing that I have told the team is, we are a product, we are the result of our experiences. And as a power company that is so critical to the lifestyle of many people, we actually have gone through our fair share of natural disasters. I mean, a few years ago, we had Hurricane Harvey that devastated Houston. We had a lot of lessons learned during that time. And I think some of those lessons have helped us tremendously to be ready, or as ready as we can, as prepared as we can for the pandemic that we had today. We had business continuity, crisis management, a pandemic policy that we activated almost, 7-8 weeks ago. I mean, we were very well prepared, but it just tells you that there will be lessons learned through the COVID-19. We need to make sure that we take the time to understand those lessons learned so it can help us for the future. And as a company, the last 4 years, we made very deliberate decisions to put us to create a very resilient company, a very resilient business. And I think it's going to serve us well during these very uncertain times. The one thing that I will tell you is that electricity is very important today, but it will be more important tomorrow. Our economy, as it decarbonizes, it becomes a digital economy. When we start using, we electrify transportation, electricity will be more important. And that's what we're preparing ourselves for. That's what we're preparing the companies to, to take to seize those opportunities as they present themselves. And obviously it requires us to have a very resilient business model that can sustain, many different circumstances. So, it's, I guess that will be my ending message. It's great to be here with you and to share our experience and our perspective with all your listeners. And, I look forward to, to meeting many of you in person. And thank you for having me, Claudia.
No, absolutely. And thank you so much for not only for spending the time, but also for, like in a way being game by sharing the best practices, how you prepare your company, how you as a leader are resilient and ready to take it on. And I think that if we can all join efforts and have that wisdom and be able to learn and put the pieces together, as you mentioned, we need to come back stronger and faster than if we don't. So thank you so much, Mauricio Gutierrez, CEO of NRG. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. See you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.